Why are the writers like, nothing is important in this war. It's just the backdrop. Like, the war's not important at all.
And somehow the Republic still wins. This show shows the Republic having, like, way more victories than would be reasonably believable.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, oh, yes, there's a war going on, but it's not important to the stories here. It doesn't impact the stories in any way. It's of no great effect.
Well, Ahsoka is a prime example of that, right? A child soldier with no hint of PTSD at all.
If it doesn't matter to the characters, it doesn't matter to the audience. I don't care about anything Ahsoka goes through because Ahsoka doesn't care about anything she goes through. It's water off a duck's back.
And like that's the exact reason that nobody cared enough to get invested in Rey, because they knew she was always gonna win. She was always gonna come out on top. She was always gonna be fine. No stakes. We're in season 6 now. This is exciting.
No Ahsoka for a whole 11 episodes. What? The unknown. A clone trooper suffers a mysterious mental illness. Yeah, because I haven't ever watched season 6. You have, though. But you don't remember anything about it.
Well, I remember the stupid Jar Jar arc. And I think I remember this one. I thought this came later in the season, but I guess it's right at the beginning. I think this and the last one are like the most interesting out of the season, so we'll see. We'll see how it holds up.
The truth about yourself is always the hardest to accept.
That's why Ahsoka never accepts it.
Against the onslaught, which is...
How did he not get shot? He was walking around with his lightsaber out in front of him like this, and somehow didn't get shot.
aided by the twin sister Jedi Masters Tipley and Tiplar.
Twin Jedi Masters? Who are they? I've never seen them before.
You know, they're kind of like super interesting, but like this is the only time you ever see them, and they're like a very minor background role. I want to say that was some damn good strategizing.
Admiral Trench has sent for reinforcements. We must take this post before they arrive.
I love her accent. I wish I knew what kind of accent that was, but I'm horrible with accents.
Follow me.
Jedi.
Okay, I think I've heard about this. This is when they find out about the chips. So far, it's not making sense to me that he's just like, oh, Jedi. Because it's like, okay, the order is to kill the Jedi. You don't have to hate it. Like, okay, there's a webcomic I read, which I love and highly recommend. It's called Unsounded. It's by Ashley Cope. And part of the magic system, at least for like one country, like it's called the Kurt. And it, like basically it's kind of like the Force in that it's like it's in everything. And so this one country kind of figured out how to weaponize it and like control their people to like basically when they really wanted to get somebody, when like somebody did something really, really bad, they tampered with the Kurt, which affected everybody's understanding of this person such that they just absolutely loathed that person. So anybody who saw that person immediately wanted to kill them because they hated them so much. And it's like really, really cool. Like I don't think I'm doing it justice the way I'm explaining it. So like go read the webcomic and then it'll make sense and be really cool. But here, yeah, it's like, why does he suddenly like hate them? It's just like, okay, kill the Jedi. It's not, no, now you hate the Jedi so much you just have to like kill them. You're following orders. You're not suddenly developing this deep-rooted hatred for them. Already! Why?
Increase our defenses.
Oh yeah, Admiral Trench is back. He should not have come back. He should have stayed dead. Made no sense for him to survive.
Wait, so they're not even gonna explain how he survived? He's just, oh, he's here again.
I think he has some like cybernetic replacements, but like that's it. And it's like, okay, no, he should be like dead, dead, dead. Dead. Permanently and completely. Just no life there whatsoever. But like, no, they're like, he's back somehow. This is like the epitome of Palpatine. Somehow Palpatine returned, and like somehow Admiral Trench returned.
You know it's great writing when it reminds you of the sequel trilogy.
The ticking noise he makes, I still hate it. Did not need to be reminded of that.
Pop! Hey! This is not the time to freeze up!
Well, if he's anything like Wrecker, all you need to do is bonk him on the head and he'll be back to normal. What did she think he was aiming at?
Wait, he actually killed her? Because she just stood there like, you're holding a gun to my face and you have this look on your, like, expression on your face that you're about to pull the trigger. So I'm just gonna stand here with my head directly in front of your thing while we've got a battle going on. So I really should be like continuously on the move and be like, okay, what's he doing? Okay, moving on with my life, instead of standing still right in front of his weapon, because even if you don't expect them to pull the trigger, you just instinctively kind of move away from the barrel of a gun. Not that I have personal experience, but I'm assuming.
Even if he was aiming at something else, she's in his line of fire. She'd want to instinctively move out of the way, like you said. So what the heck? What? Oh, you're pointing a gun at me. Okay. What?
I love when they introduce new interesting Jedi just to kill them off within 4 minutes and 44 seconds.
It's great.
I'm not so sure she got shot because her head should be like blown open and she's completely untouched. Like there's not even like a scar on the side of her head. Like, cause like, okay, I understand it's a kid's show. You don't want to show someone's head blown off. Thank you for not showing someone's head blown off.
But we've seen some pretty terrible things in this show, so it's like, who are you holding back for at this point?
There's that, but it's also like, just put a big black like spot on the side of her head, right? It doesn't have to be gruesome, but like just something to show that yes, she got hit in the head with a blaster bolt. She's not just sleeping, because right now there's nothing wrong with her. She just laid down and fell asleep.
Also, how are they not getting shot right now? You saw like all that fire going back and forth. Well, I think it was Tiplar was carrying her sister out.
I think part of the thing is that it's like, I don't like having people shooting other people in the head in kids media, but if you're going to do it, you should kind of have some sort of like, hey kids, like these are dangerous and people get hurt, right? So when you make it look like she just fell asleep, kids are like, oh, I can point a weapon at someone's head and they won't get hurt. Because yeah, they didn't show any injury to her at all. She just fell over and is laying down now and people are kind of freaking out, but like, what's the big deal? She's perfectly fine. I just was rewatching Avatar and that scene where Zuko's trying to like join the group and then Toph goes to see him at night and the bottom of her feet get burned. And yeah, she has to like crawl for hours and then like they make the bottom of her feet look like red and blistered and yeah, she got hurt. She got burned. Katara got burned as well earlier in the series. And well, yeah, Zuko, he's got a permanent scar. It's like, you don't play with fire. Fire burns, it hurts, it scars, and it shows that without being too gruesome for kids.
Fall back!
They're all retreating because one Jedi got hurt? There have been many, many missions where they take several Jedi and one of them gets shot, gets hurt, whatever. You keep moving forward. I mean, like the Battle of Geonosis. How many Jedi died? They were like, one of us is dead. We'd better all like stop what we're doing and retreat. All of them are together. It's not like, oh, they split into 3 groups and then her group can no longer continue because she's not there to help with whatever needs to be done, right? So if that group can't make it, then these 2 groups can't do it anymore. So now we have no choice. No, they're all together in a giant gaggle. Yeah, Anakin and Tip Lee would have more on their shoulders, but it's like, this is kind of important. This is why we're here at all, because this is important. This needs to get done. So let's keep going. Yeah, 5s take Tup. Another clone can take Tiplar, but Tiplee and Anakin keep on going. Everybody else, keep on going. Again, like they just make things seem so unimportant because it just gets dropped at the drop of a hat. I don't understand anything. What happened to Jedi reflexes? 5s gets there literally like as Tiplar is falling, so he had faster reflexes than the Jedi.
The Republic had pushed my droids to the breaking point when they suddenly turned and fell back.
They were almost at their objective. If they had just kept going with just 3 less clones, 1 less Jedi, they still could have done it. Why did they stop? Why are the writers like, nothing is important in this war. It's just the backdrop. Like, the war's not important at all.
And somehow the Republic still wins. This show shows the Republic having, like, way more victories than would be reasonably believable.
Yeah, I don't understand. It's like, oh, yes, there's a war going on, but it's not important to the stories here. It doesn't impact the stories in any way. It's of no great effect.
Well, Ahsoka is a prime example of that, right? A child soldier with no hint of PTSD at all.
And the fact that, yeah, she causes the collapse of monumentally important peace negotiations, and there's no consequences at all. Nobody's like, hey, we probably could have ended the war there, and now that's gone. And like, yes, we as an audience know Palpatine, he wouldn't actually let the war end there, but the characters are not thinking that way. They don't know that the war is just being like used by this like grand puppet master, and both sides are always going to continue because he wants them to until a certain point. They don't know that. So when someone disrupts what these characters should believe as a chance at peace, there should be huge repercussions. Huge. And here, it shouldn't be like, oh yeah, let's just stop now because our friend got hurt. It should be like, oh crap, our friend got hurt. We have to keep pushing forward because this is monumentally important.
Every victory counts, right?
A clone turned on his Jedi general and executed her. Intentionally.
He executed her. Intentionally? It's like, typically, execution is intentional. Like, if he just said, oh, and he shot her, then it'd be like, oh, was it intentional or unintentional? If you say he executed her, that kind of implies intention.
I saw it with my own eyes.
And then his answer is, I saw it with my own eyes. It's like, that doesn't answer the question. You can be like, hey, it seemed pretty obvious that it was intentional, but like you can't actually answer, yes, it was intentional, or no, it wasn't intentional, because you don't know someone else's intentions. You can like make pretty educated guesses, like in this case, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, oh, was it intentional? I saw it with my own eyes. Okay, but was it intentional? So often, the dialogue in the show is just like, we want to get from point A to point B. If we have to skip a couple things in the middle to get there, it's all good. It's like, no.
Also, doesn't friendly fire exist?
I have studied clones and fought against them in many battles. This action is unlike anything I have witnessed in their behavior.
So, there is a traitor in their midst. It's rare, but such things have been reported in the past.
He's saying right now, there have been traitors in the past. Yeah, him being like, oh, I've never seen this before. It's like, this has happened before. There have been episodes of this, like, happening before. Yeah, usually they're not going after the Jedi. You know, they're sabotaging the mission in other ways, but, like, it's happened before. Maybe this one's just a little more bold than the previous ones. I've never, this is amazing, never happened before.
It seemed as if the clone could not help himself, as if he was entranced.
How does he know that? Just by witness? How? He'd have to be a freaking mind reader.
He couldn't help himself. How do you know this? And then he just realized again, the clip that they had where he was like rewatching the footage, again, it's like they have these cameras just like magically set up for the most like dynamic, detailed recordings of the random thing that no one knew was going to happen, so that he could see the detail in the soldier's expression and tell, it's like he couldn't help himself, like he was entranced. It's like, okay, like Dooku just said, the occurrence of traitor clones happens, but is rare. And Trench was like, oh, I fought clones, I know what they're like. And it's like, okay, but you were like dead for how long? And so you obviously weren't fighting clones. Like, how long has it been since you've been in a battle with clones? And how many battles were you in with clones like before then? And like, yeah, I think the bigger thing is how much time has passed. Technically, the Clone Wars is only like, what, a couple years long? So I guess it's not like a huge amount of time, because Anakin's battle with Trench, chronologically, is like the first thing to happen in the Clone Wars series. So it's been at least a year, maybe even 2, since Trench has been out of action. And he's going on about how he knows clones so well. But it's like, okay, traitor clones are a rare occurrence. Have you studied those occasions so that you can compare it to this occasion and say, yes, this occasion is different than those occasions? Right? Because the way he makes it sound is that it's just like, well, I fought a lot of clones, so, you know, I know what they're like. It's like, okay, but do you know what they're like when they're being a traitor? Because this has happened before, and you're saying it's completely different from that, but what experience do you have seeing clones turn traitor?
I will take this under advisement.
I think I've said before that the phrase, like, I'll take this under advisement. Oh yeah, with the Krell. Krell said the same thing. I'll take that into consideration. That's like the polite way of saying, I'm not listening to you. I think in this case, Dooku does, but I don't know. It's just like, so often when you hear that phrase, it's the character being like, yeah, thanks for wasting my time. Have a good day. They're fighting here, and then they go behind a door, and then everyone's just chilling. And it's like, you're not worried about them coming through the door? Everything has suddenly stopped? You're totally fine? You're not in enemy territory? You're not... Why is there no sense of tension or urgency or anything like that?
Yeah, that's what it all comes back to. Urgency, urgency, no urgency, 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 no urgency.
I'm surprised she didn't just stand there going, he's not actually going to attack me, I'm sure.
A clone trooper has executed one of the Jedi generals.
And you believe this is indicative of our programming?
I do, my lord.
Wait, so was Dooku privy to Order 66? I thought he wasn't, though, originally.
It seems he's had some sort of breakdown. Kix, you should know better. We were designed to withstand any stress.
So what's Ahsoka's excuse?
It's gonna be fine. I promise. They'll fix you up real good. We'll be having a drink together in no time, eh?
It's interesting that they're giving this to Fives instead of Rex, but given that I know how it ends, that makes sense. They don't want to kill off Rex, so they suddenly make Fives the leader. He's the one in charge of, like, you know, taking care of the men. So it's just, he's never been that way before, but they're suddenly like, well, we don't want to kill off this character, but we want the character who goes through this to die, so let's just make this other character suddenly act completely outside of the role we have ever seen them in, so that we can kill them off instead. This is what happens when you're afraid to hurt your characters. You end up making lower quality writing because you're jumping through hoops to have this interesting story without it having any impact on your characters. The story needs to impact the characters. Sometimes that means death. Yes, it is sad, but that's good writing. If it doesn't matter to the characters, it doesn't matter to the audience. I don't care about anything Ahsoka goes through because Ahsoka doesn't care about anything she goes through. It's water off a duck's back.
And like that's the exact reason that nobody cared enough to get invested in Rey, because they knew she was always gonna win. She was always gonna come out on top. She was always gonna be fine. No stakes.
They kill lots of characters, but never the important characters.
So, if this is a separatist planet, they don't have any sort of protection around the planet. They don't have a fleet or anything. They don't have like a warning system. But I guess if the Republic already fought their way in there, then I guess...
The enemy's cut us off! They must have circled around behind us!
Now he's saying they circled around behind us. So obviously, yeah, they're on the planet. They're trying to leave the planet, and whoever was on the planet, instead of chasing them, went and circled around through hyperspace to get in front of them? I don't understand anything.
Kid show. And this is after they refuse to show the effects of being shot.
Why? They go from like, oh no, ooh, this is a kid show, we have to, be careful how we present death, to let's show all of the horror and terror and awfulness of people dying in the worst possible ways.
General Skywalker, you're nearing the coordinates where we lost contact with the shuttle.
Is that you, Lauren? He's like so old all of a sudden, but it's definitely the same voice. So like he aged 20 years in 2 years? What the hell?
Strategically, this attack doesn't make any sense.
Unless they were after something specific.
Top.
I'm going over there.
Again, wasn't there like a whole battle with Trench going on? And now Anakin's like, okay, we need to go investigate. Stop everything. We just gotta go float around in this abandoned ship for a while.
Kid show. We're just gonna have dead bodies just floating around and do a really nice close-up on somebody's dead face. And yeah, you're absolutely right. Aren't they worried about like Trench following them, like trying to kill the rest of them? Everyone's just like, oh yes, we're just done here. Truces?
Like they're still right next to Separatist territory. What the heck?
We have captured the cloak, Count, of the Republic blockade.
Where was the Republic blockade?
They just land their ship, they're walking around, there's no outer defenses, there's nothing to monitor. No sensors, no towers, no turrets, no nothing. And I'm not entirely sure how the gravity is working, but like, I guess I'll give that a pass. They were both locked in combat maybe an hour ago, and now it's like low level, no alert, nothing.
And this Separatist ship has all its forces assembled here. Wouldn't they have been called out when the battle first started? Why are they all here like nothing's happening, nothing's been happening? Like, what is this?
Yeah, because there'd be like cleanup, there'd be damage, there'd be like all sorts of like stuff that needs taking care of. And they're all just chilling over here.
Are your scopes Jedi issue, sir? Stay focused, Fives.
Was that a joke I was supposed to get? Is it because Anakins are small? Is it like a Barbossa and Jack Sparrow kind of thing going on here? Like,
You got a better idea?
I've got an idea.
Well, let's hear it. Quickly.
Grappling gun.
Good thinking.
That's why he's the Arc Trooper.
I can't help but compare this moment to Ahsoka, because Anakin was like, oh, do you have a better idea? And then instead of immediately being like, oh no, nothing? Well then mine is the best plan we got, like Ahsoka was in season 7 and countless times before that, then he actually gives them a couple seconds to think it out. And Rex is like, I have a plan. And he explains his plan, and instead of being like Ahsoka and being like, oh, this is a terrible plan. Your plan sucks. You're stupid. Nah, 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 nah. Like, just leave it to me, okay? Like, you clearly can't handle yourself like she was with Lux. And again, so many other instances before and after that. Anakin's like, hey, that's a good plan. And Fives backs him up and he's like, yeah, this is why he's the ARC trooper. So much better.
But Ahsoka learned all of her bad behavior from Anakin. Everything negative about her, she picked up from Anakin because Anakin's just the worst. And again, no sensors, no nothing. Oh, wait, do we have a sensor? Yeah, we do, but he's like, oh, I'm sure it's nothing.
You were experiencing drag in the vacuum of space.
But it is gone now.
How would they create drag in the vacuum of space? This is so stupid!
And a tactical droid doesn't say, like, oh, maybe we should check on that anyways. Like, they're usually the smart ones. Usually. And that's not a very high bar.
Now we're experiencing turbulence.
It took them that long to realize something was going on?
I am programmed to resist intimidation.
You have to program a droid to resist intimidation?
I think he's dying, sir.
Why? Why would he be dying?
Did all the clones just up and die after Order 66? Is that why they needed stormtroopers?
Permission to come with you, sir. He's my best friend.
Have we met Tup before?
I was just about to ask that. No, I don't think we have.
My best friend who we've never seen before, just like Ahsoka is good friends with Senator Chuchi. Oh, and that in Brain Invaders, she was like, oh, this person was my good friend. And all these relationships that you only ever see once, and they're supposedly so great. Show versus tell.
Medical frigate 517, you are cleared for departure.
Okay, is this the Republic blockade now that they were talking about? I guess they reached it. I don't know what's going on.
Nobody knows what's going on. The writers didn't know what was going on.
What was the quip again?
Oh, the truth about yourself is the hardest to accept or something like that. That obviously refers to Tup, but like, Tup wasn't the focus of the episode. Like, ish. He was driving the plot, but Fives was the main character.
Pretty much. Like, Tup barely even had a role. For the most part, he was laying in a bed saying, good soldiers follow orders, good soldiers follow orders. So, again, the quip makes no sense. I mean, it's not wrong, but it just makes no sense in application to the episode in question. Like, I could see that one making sense in potentially one of the next episodes in this arc where Fives kind of comes to realize, oh, I've got one of those in me too, right? Then that would make sense. But for this episode, it doesn't make any sense. Now I remember what I was going to say when you were talking about how Anakin was listening to the other guys' opinion. The other interesting thing about that moment is the other person is right. They have a better idea, right? In Ahsoka's case, she's always like, no, you're wrong, and then they're wrong. And she's right. And if anyone suggests anything else, the narrative is very clear. They are wrong. They should listen to Ahsoka, because Ahsoka's always right. Mary Sue. I like having a mic.